That's the singularity. And that's, you know, and it's not, we didn't make the singularity. We're a reflection of it. That's just when this particular zone or node or whatever you want to call it, it gets opened for business, so to speak.
Well, if it wanted to prepare us for abandoning life as usual, this would be a good way to start it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start it with a little pandemic, lock everybody inside for a little bit, complete upending of what's all that's normal in terms of society.
Yeah, man. I mean, that is the, and you know, I was driving over, I'm like, I want to talk about like all the different conspiracies about it with Rogan, but I don't want to either.
What kind of conspiracies? About the pandemic?
Yeah.
What are the conspiracies you're hearing, other than 5G?
5G, comet impact.
Comet impact?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one.
Well, well, you're definitely not my wife. Because I've mentioned it so many times to my wife. She's like, Duncan, please don't. Do you like
Isn't
every
there one
day?
that was supposed to fly by? Like there's a meteor that's supposed to fly by in the next short amount of time?
Yeah. I mean, check out Reddit Conspiracy. My conspiracy friends, I'm not even going to attempt to give the download on it because like y'all have done a pretty good job of putting all the pieces together out there, whether they're real or not. I don't fucking know, but I enjoy reading them late at night, and they've been giving me terrible dreams. But the asteroid theory is that okay, so we want to have, by we I mean they want to have maximum survivability for the planet. They're not out to like, they don't want people to die. They're not trying to, it's not a bioengineered thing that's designed to like cull the population, which is another of the theories. But rather, there was a plan, which is like, what's our plan if we do see a meteor is going to impact the planet? What's our plan? Do we let people know that the meteor is going to impact? Well, it depends. Like if an astronomer that's not connected to one of our labs or whatever sees it, they're going to let people know. And then, you know, so that's a whole different, I think, method of like reacting. But what if we see a thing that they don't know about? And there's some probability, even a 20% chance the thing impacts the Earth, right? Or there's some cosmic event maybe we're not even aware of, like the sun doing some weird shit that we don't even know happens because it's so deep, it's like deep data, right? So maybe it's not an asteroid, it's a cosmic event that's approaching, right? And so there's got to be a plan. And it's like, well, if we just tell people that the sun's going to do like a mild blip, which is going to destroy all satellites and destroy all GPS, and just that alone would cause runs on the bank, mass panics, and people would start looting and shit. And that's not, you don't want that, because the idea is like, we want them to hole up in their houses till the shit passes so we get maximum survivability. And so the whole pandemic, this is a conspiracy theory, not real. The whole pandemic was a plan to get people to go inside, store up food, get them off the roads, and like wait for this, whatever this event is, to pass. And as soon as the event passes, you'll find that it's all of a sudden it's like, what do you know? The curves are all dropping off. What do you know? And then we'll all be back because the thing they were worried about didn't happen. Also, it could be a test for that, so that.
Can I just stop you? Because it's so dumb.
Me.
It's hard to believe.
Thank you.
There's a real virus. They can.
Dude, I know.
They can image it.
But
I know what it looks like. They've been able to test for it, antibodies.
I feel like I'm talking to my wife.
It's a real virus. It's a confusing virus.
It's so good that I married the person I married, because if not, like, I would probably be like digging a hole to like crawl into out of pure paranoia, because she does do this to me. She's like, Duncan, do you think there isn't a COVID virus? Like, you think there's no virus out there? Do you think that like maybe like, so all the scientists that have like identified COVID are all part of this thing to keep us from the meteor thing? And then I'm like, thank you. Because like, I'll start getting freaked out from it, but I'll answer your question. Like, if I had to answer that, I would say, oh no, it's real. I mean,
how many people have died? I feel like we're at this cusp of something very strange happening. Like, we're in the middle of it right now, but we're at the cusp of something very strange, where all it would take is one massive world event, to completely remap how we view each other and how we view things. It's very disconcerting to me.
I mean, it feels like without that one big world event, we're not that far away from that right now.
Right.
There are parallel universes right now that exist on things that you would have thought everyone can accept as a basic fact.
Like what?
You know, I mean, Syria.
Yeah.
You know, the white helmets. There are some fairly serious people saying the white helmets are, you know, some kind of media front for Al Qaeda or Al Nusra.
Would you explain the white helmets for people?
So when there's a bombing and a building collapses, they go in and drag people out and get them medical attention as quick as possible.
And people think that they're somehow or another involved in it. They're a front.
Yeah, and the footage is faked in order to drum up sympathy for the rebel-held areas. I mean, I've heard, you know, serious people say that.
Serious people.
Yeah, not loons on Facebook. I've heard, you know,
like journalists or
yeah. I mean, Seymour Hersh, I think, has walked it back a little bit since, but he said that in the early days.
Why do you think he believed it?
I read a really interesting article about him just a few days ago. Where was it? I forget what it was. It was, you know, the not expose, but a really good look at him. And I think he's just spent his career believing rightly that the government lies about all kinds of things, and that's got him into a point where he thinks, well, they always lie, no matter what. It's happened to a lot of journalists. Robert Fisk, Seymour Hersh, Martha Gellhorn. I mean, one of my favourite war correspondents of all time. I reread some of her stuff recently, and the first batch of war reporting she did, I think, is the best war reporting I've ever read. Spanish Civil War, Vietnam, and then she spent 25 years writing novels, and then later on wrote about, I believe it was the Yom Kippur War, and was denying that massacres had happened and saying, you know, oh, Arabs lie, they always lie, there was no massacre. And we now know there was a massacre, or there were massacres in the aftermath of these wars. So I don't know what happens. I mean, maybe if you just do this for too long, you just become so cynical that you're open to these things. But I'm amazed that Seymour Hersh is open to that idea.
When the very people that are calling it, the very people that have boots on the ground and that are in these war zones and calling these things, when they become cynical and they become jaded, that's when it gets really, really sketchy. And we rely so heavily on people like you. Like I'm not going over there.
Yeah.
You know, Jamie's not going over there. Look at him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and you wouldn't be able to really get, like, I know people that have gone to Venezuela and they come back and they go, I don't know what the fuck is going on over there. I don't know who to believe. I don't understand it. Venezuela is a very strange one. And I get messages all the time. And, you know, I've had Abby Martin who goes over there and she has one take on it. And I have other people that I talk to that have a different take on it. And I do not know. I don't know who to believe. And I think you'd have to go over there and you'd have to spend a lot of time to try to figure this out. And it would have to be the entire focus of your life to really try to parse it out.
I think that's true of a lot of conflicts. I mean, you know, one of the drawbacks of doing what I do is I'm covering 7 or 8 things at once. So I feel like I'm not expert enough in even Afghanistan, where I've covered that more than any other. But Venezuela is an interesting one because there's such a left-right divide on that. And if you support the opposition, then you find yourself alongside John Bolton and Donald Trump, which means that a lot of people are going to automatically attack you.
Right. Automatically. Yeah. Even if it's correct.
And I think it's, you know, we can say without a doubt that Maduro has destroyed the economy there. Maduro has imprisoned, beaten, killed journalists. There is a movement there that do want genuine elections. But some people will say, well, just because George Bush in another area or John Bolton in this era support the opposition, therefore the opposition must be illegitimate and the information coming out must be false. And I wish people did rely on people who actually went there, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like they rely on the guy behind the glass desk on the news with the loud opinion, rather than the people who are actually there.
Well, we still have this idea in our head that the person who's reading the news is the authority. You know, that Don Lemon has the inside scoop, or whoever it is, you know.
And I think it used to be that those guys would spend 20 or 30 years traveling, and then they'd get the cushy job behind the glass desk in the studio. Now it seems like you can go straight to the cushy job behind the glass desk. You know?
Well, we just need someone who's relatable, who can read a teleprompter, you know, who fits the profile that they're looking for, whether it's Fox News or CNN, you know.
And also the information is there. You know, there are fantastic documentaries, articles being written about all of these conflicts.
Right.
People aren't reading them.
Well, with something like Venezuela, the real problem is you have two sides. You have two different versions of what's happening, and it's if you're not educated in that country and you don't understand their politics, it's very difficult to figure out who's telling the truth.
Yeah, same with Syria.
Yeah. you could fuck off. I'm not getting in that thing. It would take a few years before I'm willing to climb into that sucker. But
so the other problem with conspiracies, just to get back to that for a moment, is the problem of anomalies. What do you do with anomalies? This is true in all science. No theory explains every single thing that's out there that we want to study. There's always going to be some like quirky thing that the main theory here that explains all these things here, it doesn't account for that. Mm-hmm. Okay, what do we do with that? Well, my joke is you assign it to a grad student. They let them figure it out. But what outsiders mistake is that, well, my theory explains this little anomaly, so therefore it should replace this theory. And so people like Neil and Sean Carroll, Lawrence Krauss, Michio Kaku has like 2 web pages. One, he has a link on his web page. If you have an alternative theory of physics, go to this page. So they go there, and it has, your theory has to explain all of these things over here that our theory currently explains, and your whatever your said anomaly is. And of course they can't. So it's not that scientists are dogmatically closed-minded to the anomalies. It's that we can't explain everything, and you don't have to do anything with that. Just leave it there. Maybe eventually they'll pile up, and there'll be a new theory, like with Einstein's relativity. Okay, there's enough anomalies here, like the orbit of Mercury and a few other things, and so we have to modify Newtonian physics a little bit. Okay, that happens. But for the most part, like, and so conspiracies are filled with these things. Like the moment something big happens, you go back and, okay, but there's this weird thing here. How do you explain that? I don't know. We don't have to explain everything.
do you know that there's a growing movement that think that the space is fake?
Space is fake. No, this is different than the flat earthers.
Google hashtag space is fake.
Oh, no.
Hashtag space is fake is people that are so fucking stupid the flat earthers kicked them out.
Oh my God.
For real, flat earthers kicked out the space is fake people. Space is fake is,
oh my God,
they're the most skeptical.
So what would be the upper atmosphere? Would be the edge of the universe?
It's all bullshit. It's all fake.
That's the end.
And it's tied in some weird way to religion, which is really interesting. Because even the flat earth people, there's a tremendous amount of them that are extremely religious. And they talk about the firmament, the Bible,
right.
and the Bible, and that this is what's really going on, is that they're trying to keep us from the knowledge that God has created this place as a very special place.
Right.
And so by pretending that it's round, they somehow or another are controlling us. They're thinking that we're not exceptional and we're not lucky. Space is fake.
They're using a video from that Ryan Gosling's movie he just made about Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon.
Yeah.
Just be like, this is, look, here's proof. This is how they fake everything.
This is fake.
It's like they're making a movie.
Because
they're literally
the way they made the movie is, that's evidence that it's fake.
Because he's wearing it. I don't know if maybe this person doesn't recognize that as being Ryan Gosling right there. He's got a NASA suit on.
Maybe it's just a troll account. This is how NASA
be
fakes everything. This is the video I was talking about, guys. Now you know it's all a big act. Hashtag
you should,
space is fake. Click on space is fake, though.
This is what I'm on. I'm on the whole
Yeah, but I mean,
thread
click on it because there's a bunch of other ones.
I'm on that thread.
There's a tremendous amount of people that literally believe that space is not real.
Google a video of how Buzz Aldrin and how he deals with the no moonies, that we never went to the moon. There's a video of Buzz Aldrin punching a guy.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
That guy, I had dinner with that guy.
You did?
The guy he punched, yeah. I was a firm believer that we never went to the moon.
You were?
Yeah, this is what happened. I watched that Fox documentary,
Yep.
The Moon Conspiracy Theory, Did We Go? And I was like, holy shit. Because it was on television. And this was 96, 97. I remember I went to work and I told everybody, you got to see this documentary. It's crazy. We never went to the moon. And I watched that one, and I watched this guy's, what is his name?
Bart Seibel.
Bart Seibel.
Oh, yeah.
So I had dinner with him. He absolutely believes that we never went to the moon. 100% believes it. I don't know if he still believes it. I think he's like a cab driver or something now. He was involved in the news or local television or something like that, back where he's from. Then he released a documentary called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. And in his documentary, one of the things he did have is some really interesting footage of the lunar module, where it looks like they're faking a shot of them being really far out, but then when they remove the covers from all the windows that were inside the lunar, not the lunar module, what is the one that the orbiter? It really looks like they're in low Earth orbit. And this is like the main thing pointing to that, like they couldn't get out of low Earth orbit. Then there was also the fact that they lost all of the telemetry data, which was the binary, the ones and zeros that show the position of the lunar module at every stage. There was a bunch of different things. The fact that no one wanted, especially Neil Armstrong, he became a recluse, never wanted to talk about it. You go and watch the press conference. The press conference, they look very shady. Look like they're completely full
but
of
Buzz
shit.
Aldrin's not like that. He talks to everybody.
He was a drunk for a long time, though. He was very depressed and became an alcoholic after the moon landing. And the idea is that in conspiracy circles, from talking as them, the idea is that he got over it after a while and needed to make a living, and now he talks about it constantly.
Okay. All right.
But Neil Armstrong never did. The thing that's compelling is that there's some faking going on. If you look at Gemini, was it Gemini 15? Michael Collins, there's an image of Michael Collins when they were testing some of the space walking stuff and some of the things that they would do to walk outside of a spaceship. They had them all strapped up with cables, and they're just experimenting with these things. They took that photograph and then blacked out the background, probably some overzealous PR agent. And
You
they
mean when they're
blacked out
like
the
in the
back-
pool in
This is it
Houston?
right here.
Oh.
So what it is like, so the first one is clearly he's in a studio and they're working on things and just trying to understand how all this stuff works. And the second one, they took the exact same photo and just reversed it and blacked out the background. And but this that doesn't mean that they didn't go to the moon. That just means that someone got a hold of some photographs and faked it. And it's way more likely that there was more of that going on than that people didn't actually go to the moon, right?